QB gets paid and the CB gets cut. Geno gets his money and Jack is out. Yo, what up, Raider Nation? Welcome into another exciting episode of the Raider Ragu Show. Check it. We're going to get into it today, but first, let me mention please like, share, comment, subscribe, download the show. We appreciate the support. Thank you very much. My sponsor, shebangboutique.com, SHEE, bangboutique.com. Go over there and get your girl some fly. All right. So, news coming out immediately. Last time I had hollered at you guys, the video I had made, well, it wasn't the exact last time, but the last time I did the podcast episode, the video I had made was about Geno getting paid. He hadn't got paid yet. Some people was thinking they was going to wait until the draft to actually pay him, and that was not the case. So Geno ended up scratching in, looks like 2 years, 85 mil, 65 mil guaranteed. If you attach that onto the last year of his deal that he's currently on, because they didn't tear that up. So now he has a 3-year deal. All right. So that's the 25 season, 26 season, 27 season. So it's about 103 million for those 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it was 85. Plus he was already doing uh like a 23 or something like that. So 24. So he's right at over 100 million for the 3 years. Now, that puts him squarely like in the middle of the pack as far as quarterbacks, like around 17th ranking or so. So they're not breaking the bank for him, not advocating for players not getting money, but this is just the contract that he signed. So it's good. It's in that way it's team friendly and he's getting paid. He got 65 million guaranteed. So he'll get half of that this year, half of that next year. Or maybe half of that next year and half of that the year after. I'm not sure how that part is structured, but they could get out of the contract after next year. Not this season right here, but after next season, they could get out of it and just pay him, and he could be released. So now, what does that say for the Raiders draft wise? We're gonna talk about that. What I thought initially was, especially after the news of them getting rid of Jack Jones. So Vinny Bonsignor reported early this week. Yeah, it was Monday, where it came out like on the weekend that the Raiders were going to either trade or release Jack Jones. And I immediately was like, well, if they wanted to trade him, why would they say they're going to release him if they don't trade him? Only reason for that is because of waivers. Like if somebody really wanted him and probably was going to roster him, they could make a trade for Rotor Raiders a 6th or 7th round pick. I would say probably like a 6th. If the Raiders was lucky, a 5th. They could negotiate a 5th. That would have been grand. But a late round, 6th, 7th round pick to take Jack off their hands. Otherwise, they're gonna cut him, and then you got to wait in your line. Wait your turn in line with the waiver wire. Make sure he clears all the teams before they get to you, if you want it. So that's why they put it out there. Okay, yeah, we'll do a trade. So all the people that perhaps didn't want to wait in the line, a waiver wire, they could give up a pick for him. It's a good little strategy. But let's talk about that. They getting rid of Jack. So people immediately was like, yeah, you gave up touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. He also got a pick six in a game that we basically got blew out in. And that wasn't his fault that, you know, we couldn't sack, couldn't get any pressure on Joe Burrow. Uh, he wasn't the only player that gave up yards in that game, but he got a pick six. Anyway, I believe Jack's problem is he's not a good fit with Pete Carroll's style of defense and what Pete Carroll wants to do, even though I know it's Patrick Graham's defense technically. But Pete Carroll is the head coach. Pete Carroll is a former DB himself, uh, former DB coach. All right. And you remember, and I'm not trying to say this is the Seahawks or anything of the glory years of the Seahawks, but that Legion of Boom defense had big corners, tall corners that would didn't have any problem tackling uh, and could cover. So that's the opposite of what Jack is. Jack is the small guy that can cover and doesn't pack that much punch as far as on the tackling side of things. He can tackle adequately. He can get his hands on people, but we've seen him. When Najee hit that hole on him and gave him that ha, he didn't want any parts of that. And the guy only goes about a buck 65, buck 70 or something at 6 foot. So he's a very slight build guy. So he's more of a cover guy, not the come up and hit you type of guy that Pete Carroll likes. So I don't think it was that he had such a bad year. It's just that he's not a good fit. And going forward, I believe they're doing him a favor by releasing him early enough so he can perhaps catch on with another team quick, soon or early in OTAs and go to the city where the team is at, to the facility and all that, and get going, get cranked up with the other teams. I think it was cool instead of just waiting, and then releasing them like on cut down day later this summer, So good luck to Jack. He still had probably the sweetest play on defense in Raider history with that pick against the Chargers in that blowout victory at in AP's interim season. So we'll never forget that. That'll always be in Raider lore. We'll always go down in history with that highlight. Um, I do want to address something else too. So I have been hearing some rumblings of Hunter Renfro coming back and the Raiders perhaps signing him and that he passed the play, what have you. I just want to be the first to say that, hey, I'm all out on that. 100% against bringing Hunter Renfro back. Thumbs down on that. When last he played for the Raiders, in my opinion, we would have made the playoffs if it wasn't for him. He fumbled away the Cardinals game early in the season. Then he fumbled away the Vikings game late in the season when we lost 3-0. Um, that team ended up going 9-8. In my opinion, without those fumbles, they're 11-6. Um, Perhaps 10-7 ball club that makes the playoff. That's my opinion. So, and guy sits out a year. That doesn't make him get any better. Getting, he's not any. He's not going to be even more ready to play NFL football. But I believe he would be less ready, and he was already just a turnover waiting to happen as soon as he got the football. Guys' eyes light up like saucers when they saw him, like the smallest of guys, even guys like Jack Jones size. We get, man, eyes would light up like saucers, Pete, when when he got the rock because they know he was a hit stick and fumble waiting to happen. They knew that. So no disrespect to Hunter, but I'm cool. He could go somewhere else. I'm good. Small news and notes. Raiders re-signed Charles Snowden, depth piece along the defensive line. Um, so Snowden probably backs up Max, I think, on the left, with Tyree and Malcolm on the other side. Uh, as of right now, it's Wilkins and Butler and uh, Jonah and Big Jink. Did we resign Big Jink? I think Jenkins as well. I got to check that. But yeah, they re-signed Charles Snowden, so he's coming back. It was interesting because they let Jason go, but Jason was going to cost a little money. He's a first round pick, so he ended up getting a little bit of bread from New England. So they let Jason go and re-sign Snowden. So I just want to say Devin White was made official, and when I heard what his contract, what he signed for, I was like, wow, uh, how quickly things change in the NFL. This guy was a first round pick or fifth overall in 2019, and he signed the Raiders for like just over $1 million 1 year deal. So he hasn't had the best of seasons, I guess, for the last 2 years, is what I've been told. I haven't really been following. However, what I remember about him is he was fast and was hitting hard. That's what I remember when he played for Tampa Bay. What happened since then, I don't know. Has he been banged up or whatever? I have to research that. But how somebody could just all of a sudden not be that anymore is beyond me. Um, I mentioned he was picked fifth overall. The reason why I remember that so well is like the rest of you probably is we picked Cleve Farrell right in front of him, and we needed a linebacker. So yeah, Mayock has admitted that he overdrafted Cleve. In my opinion, this is righting a wrong right here. Officially bringing Devin White in, getting him signed. I'm gonna look at it as he was sandbagging so he could get to the Raiders where he should have been all along. Uh, so I was excited about the Devin White signing. I don't know about you guys, but I was cool with that. Hopefully he can be rejuvenated and find that spark, man, and become the player that he looked to be when he was a rookie. When they beat us 45-20 or something like that in the Allegiant Stadium, one of the first games in the Allegiant Stadium. There was no fans. Remember back in COVID, Devin White was on that defense that just shut us down. So okay, so that's the news and notes stuff that I had. Now, lastly, got to talk about the draft, right? We can't do a show without speaking on the draft at this time of year. Today is like April 8th, something like that. So we got 2 more weeks to the draft. You know, 2 more weeks and 2 days. The Raiders just announced the release or trade of Jack Jones. The Raiders need, we know, a running back, a receiver, and now we know they need a cornerback. We need we need guys to come in and start at these positions. I was speaking of more interior O line at first. Now I'm starting to really believe that Pete Carroll does think this O line is good. He said that. I thought he was just coach speak. kind of bluffing. And it still remains to be seen. They still might draft the O lineman. There's going to be good O linemen left in the fourth and fifth round, I believe. They might have their eyes on somebody. But I believe they're going to draft a corner and maybe first. In this year's draft, I made a video also about Genty, the Raiders picking him 6 overall. There are some strong possibilities that Genty might not even be there at 6. But I believe if he is there at 6, the Raiders will take him. If he's not there at 6, the Raiders will trade back and pick up either a additional second or third round pick and then draft a cornerback. No, yeah, or a wide receiver in the first round. So, right, I don't know if it's going to be Will Johnson. Will Johnson has some real question marks. He's been injured. His foot is hurt. I hate that. It's the same thing with Tyree all over again. That's a DB. I just don't like it, man. Um, and I know he's a young guy. He's gonna heal up and be cool, but I just don't like drafting guys that's hurt. He only played 6 games last year. Nobody's seen him run since then, and nobody has a 40 time on him. But I will admit he's a big time player though. Big corner that was suit Pete Carroll style. He he has good ball skills. He'll make interceptions on balls that are, instead of breaking them up, he'll intercept some balls. Here, you know, balls. But that was when he was healthy, when we last seen him play, which has been a while. So it's question marks about Will Johnson. But I do think the Raiders have trade back. They may go uh, Golden or Burden first, stay there at 37 and go with the receiver. I'm sorry, with the corner. Right now, I'm thinking like maybe Revel or Trey Amos, somebody like that. If they can hold on to that 37 pick right just at the, 4 picks in of the second round. And then the third round, they can get a running back because there's a lot of them. I believe third round, you still got action at a lot of them, man. I had 13 of them on my little draft list. The professionals had 39 guys, I believe somebody said, or 29 guys or something, man. So crazy amount of running backs, right? There's some names that we ain't even thought about yet that some of the experts think are draftable. I don't want just a draftable guy. I want like a decent guy. So I'm thinking like a Bashul Tootin or the guy from SMU that ran the fast time, Richard something, uh, Quinshawn Judkins, maybe Ollie Gordon still. So Scatterbo, never know, man. It's gonna be guys available in the third round, and then we're gonna have an additional probably third round or maybe an additional second round pick where we can get a running back. So I think first 3 picks after a trade back for the Raiders, they're gonna go receiver, corner, running back after a trade back. That's what I think the Raiders are going to do. That's what I think would be the best course of action. would be a trade back. I like Rebel. Uh, Everybody likes Johnson, allegedly. I like Amos. These are all bigger guys, kind of physical. I think it should be one of those guys. Then I like receivers, Burden. I like Golden. And I know you guys know I like Higgins. And you know, I'm not totally out on maybe T Mac, but T Mac too. So any of those, if T Mac was to slip, so any combination of those two that I just said would be cool for the first two picks. And then go with the running back in the third round. Let me know what you guys think, man. I'm not gonna hold you. You know, like I always say, just win, baby. Big.